Hello again everyone, welcome back. We are watching WWE Smackdown, which this week will feature a lumberjack match between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn, a match between Matt Riddle and Jey Uso, basically more Randy Orton the better, the return of Roman Reigns as well. The WWE will be taping two shows at once tonight, so next week's SmackDown will be pre-recorded because of the whole touring thing that they're going to be doing, which means that tonight has a certain amount of responsibility and also has a lot of people involved. Ronda Rousey is expected to be at both shows, will feature for a contract signing this week, and they haven't officially announced anything for next week, but I imagine, given that everything is going to be leaked, we'll definitely find out about that over the course of the show tonight. So welcome to the Tom Colliehue YouTube and Twitch channels. Please hit subscribe and like on the YouTube video and follow on Twitch if you haven't already, as we get started with tonight's WWE SmackDown. Already joining us, Sean Cena saying hello again, Tom. Apparently next week's SmackDown is a tape show. Fightful Select released the lineup for next week. Yes, next week's show is indeed a taped show. The Fightful Select lineups, even they have been very open about the fact that they've been unreliable recently, so I'm not entirely sure how strongly we can take that at the moment. Moxie says, acknowledge me. You are acknowledged. I see you. I see you. I see you. And hello to Megan as well. Welcome. Great to see you. Megan, for those who don't know, also a streamer, is now at a point of 40 out of 50 for the target for affiliate, and is en route to that free average viewership that gets you the monetization. SmackDown tonight looks like it's going to be opening with Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. Adam Pearce is there to hype the crowd up. It wasn't too long ago he was being thrown around by Brock Lesnar, who of course we haven't seen for a while. There were plenty of reports around the time that Brock Lesnar would be sticking around for the weeks that followed WrestleMania. One person who always said otherwise was of course myself. Never quite believed it. Yes, Megan, a nice round number of followers. Nothing like a nice round number, I tell you. It might just be me and my OCD, but there's nothing quite like a nice round number. Charlotte Flair is being introduced and is heading down to the ring as Ice Queen as ever in an interesting little jumpsuit. I feel like she's about to be on Galaxy Quest. Or asking about a Continuum Transfunctioner. Either way, the jumpsuit brings back memories of films that are so bad they're good. Megan says, I like things to go up in 5s and 0s, you and me both. Although when things go up in 0s, it's not quite going up. But I do constantly look at my subscriber number, which today is 1082, and I think to myself, wouldn't it be great if that was a nice round number? The day I had 1,000 was a very, very good day indeed. We are starting immediately with a recap and a hype package for the upcoming I Quit match at Wrestlemania Backlash, a match that I still believe has a strong chance of being the main event of this show. Moxley says, I don't think we're getting Roman tonight. That would mean 3 weeks in a row with no Roman. Not sure on that one personally. Hey Simon, welcome to the show. Great to see you. Bailey says, do you ever see Charlotte being in a tag team? A singles character is a little stale. Charlotte's been in a tag team quite often in her time at the top level of WWE. She's been in a team with Becky Lynch. She's been in a team with Asuka, for example. And she's won championships with Asuka at the very least. So she has had tag teams before. I apologise. She's also been part of tag teams with, for example, Dana Brooke. So there's been combinations. I could definitely see Charlotte leading a faction at some point. I'm just not sure anymore who that faction would be, because quite a lot of the wrestlers coming through don't need a faction. That said, Damian Priest doesn't need Edge, but here we are. Hello again, Brandon. Great to see you. Wiggly says, my heart races whenever Charlotte Flair appears. She is truly the queen. Amazonian goddess, and I'll stand by that till the end of time. Megan says, Charlotte's look is giving me sleeveless shell suit. I can see that. I'm half expecting like her to be wearing a belt that you can open up and it's got different flavours of gum that turn you into a different alien. Would answer a lot of questions. The focus of the recap is very much last week. Drew Gulak getting beat up. I want that to actually play into the finish in some way at WrestleMania Backlash. I don't think it will. I want it to. It'd be great if it would. I don't think it will. Charlotte Flair is soaking in the hatred from the crowd. I don't think it's got that much to do with Drew Gulak, gotta be honest. Simon says Roman is scheduled for a backstage segment tonight to go on a Fightful Select. Well, Roman is back, I can say that. And I'm expecting to see her tonight. Megan said, let's hope this signing segment goes better than the last one. True. Well, Ronda Rousey's there, so that's an upgrade on the week before. They need to not put too much focus on Ronda Rousey in a microphone tonight. They've exposed her a little bit. Wiggly says, the YouTube channel suggests Charlotte is going to embark on intergender matches. What do you think? The fact that you haven't told me what YouTube channel certainly raises some questions for me, Wiggly. Which YouTube channel was it? Just as a heads up, for anyone who's not aware, over the next few weeks, I may or may not be getting some new glasses. They're slightly bigger. I don't know how they're going to play out, but they were the best option of very bad options. Wrestlemania. Right, okay. We'll see how that plays out, shall we? Charlotte Flair has plenty of competitors to be taking on in the women's division. Drew Gulak has the contract. He's apparently Adam Pearce's new assistant. Megan says, what in the name of Smeg is Ronda doing with her hair? It's Ronda Rousey. She has her own stylists. And it adds so many extra questions. You're alright, Wiggly. The source is more important than any inadvertent promotion. I have no bad will of Wrestlemania. Never encountered them really, so I couldn't say. Drew Gulak has a PowerPoint presentation. I'm upset by the lack of pop. The lack of pop for Drew Gulak has upset me. Bailey says they're foregoing no glasses and contacts. I do have contacts. I will probably do them at some point. It just depends on the occasion. If I'm doing anything sporty, I'll usually wear contacts. I need new contacts anyway. Sean says, WrestleOps released the top 5 superstars with the most wins in WWE history. 5th was Randy with 1,245. 4th is Bret Hart, 1,471. 3rd is Kane with 1,486. 2nd is Undertaker with 1,699. Topping the list is John Cena with 1,756. Some big numbers there. Moxie says, I think Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans is coming. I agree. Charlotte Flair, after losing this championship, will fade to the background slightly, but will still be featured on a week-in, week-out basis. Megan's excited for the return of the PowerPoints. Unfortunately, we didn't get one. Where's my PowerPoint? Where's my PowerPoint, WWE? Where is it? Wiggly says, Wrestlemania were adamant about the whole name redacted making a comeback and being mentioned by WWE, so I don't take them seriously anymore. It's fair. Fair. Sean says chances Charlotte retains low, but to be fair, it was very low that she would retain at WrestleMania, and she did so. Ronda Rousey's champion incoming. That's how it works. Might take a little extra time, but Charlotte's going to have that lose that championship. Sam says, "Are you watching Rebellion tomorrow night?" I am not. I'm going to have a bit of a night out tomorrow. Just have a good night elsewhere, and not stay up till like 5 in the morning watching an Impact pay-per-view. Charlotte Flair keeps saying the words "I quit," which, as long-term viewers of the WWE will be aware, just mentioning the words "I quit" is usually a bad thing. Mankind, way back when, came a bit too late to the phrase "I quit," and the audio was already recorded. Charlotte trying to fuel a Ronda Rousey chant. We'll see how that plays out. Thomas Phipps, welcome. Says, what match are you looking forward to the most at the pay-per-view? I think it's actually quite exciting, some of the matches that we've got. The I Quit match should be very good. But I think of all the options, it's going to be the Tag Team Unification match. RK Bro are taking over the WWE right now, as you can likely tell by the title that I put together here. The Usos are the Usos. They are incredible. So those two teams just going at it for 20-25 minutes, I'm hype. Wiggly says, do you go to the Pleasure Beach often? Haven't been to Blackpool since 2006. Yes, I'm in Blackpool. As I got the Pleasure Beach since I stopped working there way back when, I've not really been a lot. I'm not a big rides guy. Because of that, there is no reason for me to go. And Ronda Rousey just said I quit, which again, the recordings can be used against you. People need to stop and think. She also can't seem to work out how pens go. Okay, so what was supposed to happen there was that Charlotte was going to flip the table, knock over Ronda, and immediately have access to the kendo stick that she'd stashed underneath. Of course, the table landed exactly on the kendo stick, so that Charlotte had to first remove the table from on top of the kendo stick in order to actually use it. Also, I think Drew Gulak's about to get beat up by Ronda Rousey. Yes, he is. Drew Gulak's job right now is to just get beat up by both women. I'm guessing this is supposed to mean, oh, but Drew Gulak's going to be the one. Sorry, that Ronda Rousey's now going into intergender matches. Just leave him alone. What did he do to you? Sean says maybe Charlotte pulls a Miz and makes a recording of Ronda saying I quit, like Miz did when he faced John Cena in an I Quit match. I was going back to The Rock and Mankind from the year 1999, but hey, whatever works for you guys. Hey, Someone 7, how you doing? Right, so she's signing the contract while Drew Gulak is in an arm bar. Do you just... Why, though? Why was any of this necessary? Brandon says, poor Gulak. Yeah. Yeah, would you rather be in catering or would you rather just be getting beaten up every week? Genuine question. I'm going to make a poll on Twitter. Just going to make a Twitter poll. Genuine question. If you were in Drew Gulak's position, which would you prefer? Hashtag WWE, hashtag Smackdown. Stick in a poll. Sitting in catering. Getting beat up weekly. Just going to put that on for 3 hours and see what votes we get. Right now the focus is on Butch and the fact that Butch will just beat up everyone he can. And now we have New Day and incoming Butch. Wiggly says if the SmackDown roster are on next week, will next week's SmackDown be taped? Yes, it will. It's being taped right after this one. Thomas Phipps said, who would you have defeat Roman? I don't think Drew's been built up enough personally. Nobody's been built up enough to defeat Roman at this point in time. Cody Rhodes is a favourite for me just because he's the only person with any real momentum compared. Megan also says, poor Gulak. Sean says, an hour ago, Wrestling News Now reported Bret Hart has signed with WWE. Wrestling News Now have not reported that. They have taken the report from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer News. And to my knowledge, Wrestling Observer News are reporting that AEW believe that Bret Hart has signed with the WWE. New Day already in the ring, and by New Day, of course, I mean Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Fight Night are on their way down to the ring. Butch has already shoved Sheamus out of the way. Briefly got stabbed by the 3D. So Butch wrestles again, and will probably be rolled up again, let's be honest. Butch basically is just looking for a fight. Probably my favourite thing about Fight Night is that all of them wear a hat. I don't know why, but I just really like it. So it is a rematch. Butch has already lost a match to Xavier Woods by roll-up. And it looks like he's about to lose another match to Xavier Woods by roll-up. Oh look, he's been rolled up. Nearly. Simon says, do you see Sasha and Naomi still appearing on Raw every week to perhaps feud with Nikki Ash Doudrop to his well-start, despite starting a feud for Wrestlemania Backlash title defense tonight versus Natty and Shayna? No, honestly, I don't. I think at this point they'll fade back into the background a little bit and they'll spend more time on Smackdown again because there are no teams on Raw. They need to establish some new teams. To be fair, there are just no teams anywhere. There are literally no teams anywhere, so they've got a lot of work to do. You know how misery loves company? Well, so do extremist views. After all, Vince is very openly one of Donald Trump's closest friends and has endorsed him in every possible way, in every possible occasion. Bailey says, Vince's wife raises a lot of money for Donald Trump. Indeed, she does. Also, to be fair, raises a lot of money for the McMahon family. The McMahon family plan to go political and have succeeded in doing so over the last few years. Vince McMahon himself may be taking a run at president at some point soon. Heard it here first. But let's be honest, you weren't surprised by it. Wiggly says, also, Tom, why do you think Roddy Piper was never made the WWE or WCW champ? Legendary as he was like Scott Hall and Bulldog Kurt Hennig, never seen as the face of the company. He wasn't. When he was in WWE, he was considered a top heel, but Hogan, essentially at the time. If you were a top wrestler at the time, you had no chance because Hogan. Then, of course, when he went to WCW, what he encountered was something called Hogan. So if I'm putting Roddy Piper not winning the top championships down to one thing, it's probably Hulk Hogan. Moxie says, there is no one in NXT that can beat Mandy. She's a female Roman. Wouldn't say she's a female Roman. We're nowhere near that point. Also, what I will say is wait for it. They are building people up as we speak in order to take that role. Megan says, Linda worked for Trump's administration, is also a big supporter of the Florida governor, which is Ron DeSantis, who is basically a bigoted waste of skin in a cheap suit. Today he's attacking Disney. Today he attacks Disney. Dominic Perez says, are they ending the brand split? At this point in time, no. However, I will continue to say what I've said over the last few weeks. They are making it up as they go along with this championship unification. I cannot sit here and say definitely not. But at this point in time, no. Sean believes that Cora is still going to be the one to beat Mandy Rose. I think that's a distinct possibility. After all, there was a lot of extra moving parts last time they faced off. It wasn't a one-on-one match. And there's been a couple of names that are cleared out. Raquel Rodriguez, most notably, cleared out of the way at the top level. I'm interested to see how involved Dakota Kai is going forward as well. Woods and Butch continues. Butch Woods, basically. Butch has not debuted with particular fire. However, I've been giving a lot of praise to SmackDown recently when it comes to background pushes. People like Boogs, people like Ridge Holland are being established and are on TV week in, week out, even if they're not necessarily winning. So I feel Butch just starting, there's been some momentum behind him. He's got a storyline, even if it's not the best storyline in the world. and he's getting on TV and wrestling week in, week out. So, personally, I'm not too annoyed by this. Some lovely moves from Butch. Wiggly says there are an awful lot of wrestling people who are supportive of the Donald, and it's tricky overlooking that. Wrestling is right wing, always has been. It always has been. The vast majority of wrestlers are right wing. Most notably, of course, people like AJ Styles, who is very firmly in that camp. That, as a wrestling fan, is just something you need to accept. Oh look, Butch just got rolled up and lost to Xavier Woods. What I say? What I say? The same thing happens, and can I just say, Kofi Kingston has stolen Butch's hat. He has stolen Butch's hat. That's just not even fair. Megan says if Vince was in UK politics, he'd probably be best mates with Nigel Farage. Wouldn't be surprised if they've actually already met. Given their mutual bestie Donald. Very possible, very true. Also, Piers Morgan. I'm sorry to mention him. I'm sorry in so many ways. But I have to mention him. Because there is an unholy triumvirate there. Farage. Well, it's a square. Sorry, who's the security guy getting beat up? He's just going about beating people up now, Butch. He's off. Nigel Farage, Piers Morgan, Donald Trump, Vince McMahon. You can see them all being friends, can't you? Bailey says, a follow-up question from Spoiler Warning. Does the WWE have a say when talent use their given names in social media, or is it just more for the talent to have an identity outside of wrestling? It depends on the individual contract. This is going to be the case for a lot of different situations, but some wrestlers have entertainment clauses in their contracts or have entertainment amendments added late on, which allows them to use their own name. Ricochet and Aaliyah are backstage having a chat. I am wondering if they're actually trying to build a bit of a relationship here. Do you say Humberto? You don't pronounce the H. This is very bad backstage. Aaliyah basically just reading off the script. Hi, Ricochet. You're a very good wrestler. Tell me, what's next? Looks like it's going to be Jinder Mahal again. Looks like we get Ricochet versus Shanky tonight. Ricochet's just running through everyone in the roster. Jinder Mahal clearly wanted the moment. Wiggly says the only truly left-wing wrestlers I've seen are Mick Foley and Kevin Nash. You don't hear a lot of wrestlers talking about Mick Foley though, do you? I wonder if that's related. Marcel Bartel, Ludwig, is now on screen. Ludwig Kaiser. You may refer to him as the Kaiser Chief. Nope, there we go. Gotta be a tweet. Come on, no, that's not how you do that. Just click on the thing. Stop loading. Just let me make a tweet. Okay, this is gonna be really dumb, but I have to do it. What do you get if you mix Roman Reigns and Ludwig Kaiser? Kaiser Chiefs. Sorry, not sorry. Kaiser Chiefs. Have I spelled Chiefs wrong? I spelled Chiefs wrong. Well done, me. Gunter is on his way down to the ring in his big red coat. Megan says, Piers Morgan. Ugh, you are correct. Someone 7 just shouts the word Butch. I believe that's probably because he's seen Gunter and is excited at the butchness of Gunter. Wiggly says, God, so many unpleasant names. True. Sean says, trivia time. Who's the only person in WWE to successfully defend their Money in the Bank briefcase? Bonus points to your Hogwarts house if you can tell how this person defeated. Do you mean who this person defeated? Okay, I'm going with Dolph Ziggler against John Cena, just so you know. Wiggly says Hogan, Vince, Farage and Trump could form their own extreme right party. They could, but then the Republicans wouldn't be backing Trump and supporting the big lie, so they're not going to. Bailey says Aaliyah has basically no personality in this character. That's true. That's true. Her entire role in WWE recently has been to say things to set up other people. She's like the comedian who's always going, why do you think that? Sean says, will Ludwig eventually have a match? Yes, they are technically a tag team as well. Moxie says, to be honest, I think Gunter is the next IC champion. Works for me. I would have no issue with that. And Sean said, Braun also retained his briefcase against Kevin Owens. Maybe that's the one then. Maybe that's the answer. As regards political views of wrestlers, Wiggly, I don't know. And it's just not something I really focus on. Wrestlers are historically right-wing. That's just how it is. Dark Society, welcome to say, Tom. Haven't been streaming. Is everything okay? I miss any news. I have missed a couple of shows, primarily just because there wasn't that much to really discuss, and I've had a couple of days off. Everything is absolutely fine. I just spent some time with family, saw some friends, and took that opportunity. I'm here, I'm back, I'm fine, don't you worry. Thomas Phipps said, could Gunter possibly beat Roman? Surely it's between him, Cody and Drew, maybe Braun if he's pushed to the moon. Not at this point. Gunter is not being considered as someone to take on Roman Reigns. My expectation is that after defeating Shinsuke Nakamura, Roman will be taking on Randy Orton after Randy Orton and Matt Riddle lose the tag team championships. Then that will take us into SummerSlam, where he will take on Cody Rhodes. That's what I expect to see. Megan is going for it as RVD, Edge, Dolph twice and Braun. Edge against Matt Hardy and RVD against Shelton Benjamin. Dolph with Cena and Jericho. Braun was against... Oh, it's all right. I knew one. Of all of those, I knew one of them, and I'm still quite proud of myself for it. Sergio says, hey, Tom. Hey, Sergio. How you doing, mate? Great to see you. I think there we go. Sean has awarded 50 points to Megan and My's the house of Megan and I. Slytherin. It's the best house. See, we could do like I don't know how we do like wrestling houses. We do like a Raw house, a Smackdown house, and an NXT house, but I don't think anybody would want to be the Raw house. We could do like a bloodline thing, and then like whatever the hell Edge's thing is, and a fight night, but I don't think anyone would want to be fight night. It's not like Slytherin, where everyone wants to be Slytherin, but they're like too ashamed to admit it. Moxie says Roman versus Randy inside Hell in a Cell. That would be great. I don't think it would be inside Hell in a Cell. I don't think there's enough reason to put it inside the cell. But yeah, I'd take that. Who's Teddy Goods? Volta killing off another jobber. And it says, we are the best, and maybe a little tie, but the stat crown is mine. You are definitely the stat queen, and very, very, very good value for it. Okay, I'm excited to watch this because it's Gunter, and he's on a mission to make the perfect sound. It's a Slytherin, seriously, shame on you. I've always been a Slytherin, mate. Always have, always will. Megan quite likes the red. I like the trunks with the red and black. That suits me. Sean said that RB Gryffindor. You pretend whatever you want to pretend, mate. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Moxie says to prevent the Usos from getting involved and to make sure Roman doesn't cheat. Well, Roman would have to at least establish that he was going to cheat beforehand and that the Usos would get involved. That's the issue that you've got there. If the feud's just starting, there is no reason to be in a cell. Sean says, Jobber about to be chopped to next week. Indeed. And Ed says, Hufflepuff for the win. Really? 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 Hufflepuff? I've just realised my microphone is nowhere near me. Can you guys hear me okay? Was the microphone good there? Really? Hufflepuff? Thomas Phipps says, is there any chance in Naomi and Solo joining the bloodline in the future? Yes, there is a chance of that happening in the future. No, I don't think it should. Solo Sikoa, if you'll forgive the pun, needs a chance to stand solo. He cannot always be defined as the spare Russo, and he will be if he joins the bloodline too quick. Sergio says, Gunter looks in great shape. Heard Vince ask Gunter to get in better shape before his debut. You heard that from Dave Meltzer. And I believe it's been disputed. I believe. Megan says at least red is in the Austrian and German flags for Walter and Marcel. I mean Gunter and Ludwig. Yeah. Gunter with the Rhea Ripley pin. Getting right up there. The thing that's disappointing me is that they seem to be establishing the powerbomb as Gunter's finisher. Gunter doesn't have a finisher. He finishes people off with clotheslines, sleepers, yes, powerbombs, splashes at times. He has a real variety of offense, and I just don't feel that they're really respecting that. Still, it's a good look. A third of the way through the show, knowing that Gunter will have 2 matches tonight, I feel sorry for the next jobber he lines up against. If you're currently watching on YouTube, please do remember to hit the like button. It really does help these shows grow, find new viewership, find new subscribers, and just get the numbers up. So please do consider hitting like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching on Twitch, of course, you can always hit follow. We are still aiming for that 500 follower mark. We've certainly slowed down considerably, but the follower number is still slowly creeping up. So please, if you have not already done so, hit that follow button. Megan says he can cave in a chest with a single chop. He doesn't need a finisher. I agree. Sean says if you had to choose the first woman from AEW who could jump to WWE, Ruby Riott, on her back. I don't think they should have let her go. Jade Cargill has got a very bright future, but Ruby Riott's the finished article. Get her back. Shouldn't have let her go. Should not have let her go. We're getting a recap of the RK Bro Usos feud. It looks like because they're filming 2 shows, we're just getting a real bombardment of recaps. Thomas says, is there any question as to why Fabian Aichner isn't with Gunter, and sorry for all the questions? Firstly, Thomas, do not be sorry. Questions are good. Questions are very good. In fact, I'm very grateful for questions. One of the main reasons for this is because YouTube grows, YouTube channel grows based on engagement. Every like, every comment, every question helps the channel grow. It means that you asking that question will, I guarantee, result in YouTube advertising this show to more people. So ask as many questions as you want, make as many comments as you can. If you want to just never shut up, you're doing me a favour. As regards the question and Fabian Aichner, I'm not entirely sure. The plan was to bring them up as a tag team. Fabian Aichner, it looks like they still have plans for an NXT. I think also they just didn't have a name lined up for him yet. John says, did they let Ruby go because of no plans? They let Ruby go because the WWE believed that Ruby Riott was lacking in star power. That she wouldn't make it to the top level, so they let it go. Matt Riddle is trying to patch things up between Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle. Sorry, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. So Drew McIntyre is forgiven Randy Orton. These three against Bloodline. That could be a hell of a dark match main event. The power of Matt Riddle. Sami Zayn literally hiding in the background behind, I'm thinking gas canisters, but it just looks like massive bowling pins. Randy Orton is on his way down to the ring. It looks like he will be involved in the draw segment in a match with Matt Riddle and Jey Uso. Megan says, wouldn't be Priestley, Blair Davenport be the first one? Technically she would be, yes, having gone to NXT UK after having appeared in AEW. We also then have to mention Kayla Sparks. Dark Society says, any reason why SummerSlam is taking place in July instead of August? I'm not sure. I think it's just based on when they could book the arenas that they wanted at the times they wanted. They didn't need the extra time for a UK pay-per-view. It just seems like everything fell slightly out of sync this year. Sergio says, what do you believe is going to be the main event tonight? Probably the Lumberjack match. Probably the Lumberjack match. That would make the most sense at the moment. That said, I still think we could see some Roman Reigns. Jimmy says, I get why WWE let Ruby Riott go. Because in WWE's eyes, they already have a younger version in Shotzi who has similar moveset, green hair, tattoos everywhere, and cheaper far as paid-wise go. There are definitely occasions when I've been told after WWE tryouts, people who've attended those tryouts have told me that WWE, the examiners as they were, said to them, oh, you're too similar to people we already have. So they definitely don't want people who look similar. I think you're onto something there. But the decision was made with a view to the belief that Ruby Riott could not be a top-level star. The same can be said of Toni Storm. And this is one of the reasons they let Toni Storm go, but didn't, for example, let Ali go. They still believe Ali can be a top-level name. They're just not doing anything with the guy. And to be fair, he's on strike. He won't let them do anything with him. Hello, Bowden. How are you? Thomas says, glad that I can help in some way, as you deserve to have your voice heard. Thank you. If you could have a Survivor Series match between AEW and WWE, who would be on the Survivor Series teams? Ooh, okay. Okay. So, I'd be going Moxley, Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega, Adam Page, Chris Jericho on the AEW side. On the WWE side, I would definitely have Roman. I would definitely have Seth. I would have Cody, because it'd just be fun at the moment. After that, I start to struggle a bit more. I'm leaning towards Usos. I'm leaning towards Bloodline, Seth and Cody. And I know that's very heel heavy, but wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be fun to see this Roman against this Moxley? That'd be good stuff. Dark Society says, I like how WWE is planting the seeds for Cody Rhodes to win the championship from Roman at SummerSlam, if that's the plan. I definitely think they're building towards that match. Cody is not going to spend time in the mid-card. He's not. He's going to go straight to the top. Sean says, was not being a top-level name why Murphy and Alistair were let go? Yeah. The WWE simply did not believe that they would become top-level names on the main roster, so they let them go. Same is true of people like Braun Strowman. Jermaine says, this is really a lackluster SmackDown. I can't disagree there. Justin Stevens says SmackDown is terrible, so slightly stronger, but yeah, I would say so. It's not a great start. We're kind of all waiting on Sasha to save them. But hey, we've got Randy Orton and the Usos coming in. We've got Roman to come. We've got more Lacey Evans. Maybe that'll rescue us a little bit. Or maybe it won't. Who can tell? Simon says, Paige Van Zandt is now a babyface in AEW. I guess as a Men of the Year, and Tony Lambert too as well in their feud with Tay and Simon. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't seen it. Thomas Phipps is going to share his Survivor Series teams. General question. I think Thomas has asked a good question here. If you could have a Survivor Series elimination match between a AEW team and a WWE team, forgetting the women's side, because ultimately the WWE women would destroy the AEW women, as we all know. On the men's side, a men's 5-on-5, who would you have? Sean says I'd say Seth, Roman, Randy, Cody and AJ Styles as Team WWE versus Moxley, Page, Cole, Punk and MJF. Involving Punk would be a lot of fun. I think Xia Li's turning heel. That was dumb. Xia Li, after all the build of the Protector, has decided, boo, I bad guy. Boo. Ugh. Moxie says, that's why I think Roman versus Riddle is going to happen on a Smackdown. Riddle wins because Roman and the Usos beat down Riddle during the match. Then Randy gets beat up 2 weeks after that. We get Roman versus Randy. Roman cheats to win. Then Roman comes out next week and says, Roman, I'm sick. And Randy comes out next week and says, Roman, I'm sick and tired of your BS. And he says he challenges Roman to a match at Hell in a Cell. The Bloodline beat up Randy during that segment. The next week, Randy says him and Roman inside Hell in a Cell. I mean, that's a way of getting there. I still don't feel that justifies the use of the cell, but it's WWE. They don't really justify anything. Bailey says, did any wrestling organisation pick up Tegan Knox / Nixon Newell? No. Nixon Newell, to my knowledge, has not wrestled since the WWE. Justin Stevens says, one issue with WWE is they do so many matches between the two teams before the pay-per-view that I don't care when it actually happens. Every Raw SmackDown is Orton versus Jay or Riddle versus Jimmy, etc. Correct. Roman Reigns is indeed backstage during the show tonight. Thomas suggests for the AEW team, Mox, Kenny, Young Bucks and Hangman Page. For WWE, Roman, Seth, Cody, Drew and Randy. Good combinations here. Wiggly says, was about to ask, not seen Xia for a while. Has she turned heel? Yep. She's indeed turned heel. In like the least exciting of ways. Xia Li's face run went well, didn't it? I mean, she wasn't even in the Royal Rumble. That should have been the bad sign. That was a big giveaway for me, that they just didn't have her in the Royal Rumble. Megan says AJ, Finn, Cody, Seth and The Miz on Team WWE. We have Moxley, MJF, Keith Lee, Dante Martin and Darby Allin on Team AEW. That's definitely the most diverse team we've had so far, Megan. And I mean, you know, between main eventers, mid-carders and the like, a lot of spread. Not enough gets said about the fact that Matt Riddle is very athletic. Wiggly says, when did the heel turn happen? Never noticed. If WWE cooled on Xia Li now. The heel turn just happened there. That was the heel turn. That was it. That's all you get. They haven't cooled on Xia Li. They still think she's got a lot to offer. They just realise that she's got no one to face. I'd imagine we're going to see Xia Li versus Aaliyah just to get her on TV. Everyone's a heel nowadays, let's be fair. Sean says, would Kenny agree to be in a team against WWE? Why would that be an issue? I don't understand. Why wouldn't he? Thomas says, or maybe take out Young Bucks and replace them with Jericho and Punk. Justin says, WWE heel turns suck now. Even Rhea the other day was bad. Heel turns need to be an extremely impactful way. Beat the crap out of someone like Bayley did Sasha. Yep, well, not at this point. It depends how big you are. The bigger you are, the bigger the heel turn should be. Xia Li's not a big name. Wiggler says Xia Li gone by Survivor Series. Again, I have no interest in discussing the possibility of anyone losing their job. You've been over this, Wiggly. Jermaine says, so let me get this straight. WWE has done nothing with Xia Li since she debuted one match on TV. Now they've decided to turn her heel. This is a joke. Why? Because they're going to feed her to Ronda. I don't think they're going to feed her to Ronda. I think they're going to feed her to Sasha and Naomi, personally. I think chances are we get Xia Li and Shotzi as a tag team getting fed to Sasha and Naomi. Moxley says the SmackDown team could be... I guess you mean WWE team. Could be Roman, Seth, AJ, Bobby and Drew. Bobby Lashley's a good shout. AW team CM Punk, Bryan, MJF, Moxley and Kenny. Definitely going to be a Shield reunion. That's the thing, we all agree on that. Simon says, who do you see winning the AW women's and men's Owens Hart tournaments? Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know all of the competitors. I also don't know what the reward is going to be. The end result, the big reward, is usually the most telling thing. Moxley said that would be mad if Randy beats Roman for the WWE title, then at the UK pay-per-view Riddle beats Randy for the WWE title. Well, that's a lot of moving parts, none of which seems particularly likely. Wiggly says, could Darby Allin thrive in WWE? I didn't think he could, as he's not what Vince looks for. Very unlikely. He'd thrive in NXT. I don't think he'd thrive in WWE main roster. Thomas says they maybe have Young Bucks versus the Usos. If we're booking a AEW versus WWE supercard, which I think I may do one time, let me take a note of that. Just for a potential YouTube video later. WWE versus AEW supercard. At the moment I'm working on a notebook full of ideas for future videos. So that's a good one. I can look into that. I think Young Bucks versus the Usos is sort of the obvious tag team one. And then maybe FTR versus the New Day. Brandon says, I know it wouldn't happen, but it'd be nice if Nakamura did face Roman at Backlash and won the Universal title or WWE title, as redemption for having him lose the feud to AJ for the WWE title a few years back, having him do that horrible heel turn along with the low blows. I didn't mind the heel turn. I thought it was alright personally. The low blows got a bit excessive though. Like, he just hated AJ's dick. I never understood, but he just hated AJ's dick. I would love it if, without too much focus, they slowly built to WrestleMania Backlash, Roman versus Shinsuke, and Nakamura won. I've said that on a number of different occasions. I think Nakamura should be the one to win the championship from Roman. I just don't think he will. Thomas is suggesting MJF versus The Miz for promos. That could be fun. Bailey says, other than John Cena, who was the last major performer that never turned heel? It's a good question. I mean, if you mean specifically in WWE, then it was Hogan. But outside of that, you probably have to go way back to Bruno, to be honest. Megan says, you have to have Mox and Seth face-to-face. Miz versus MJF on the mic. Keith and AJ have speed and power. Finn and Dante is veteran versus rookie. And Darby versus Cody is bringing back a decent feud. Darby versus Cody is definitely something we've seen a lot of. That's worked out very well as well. Justin says Raw is going to dismantle SmackDown Survivor Series this year. Don't they always? Unless it's a draft by then. There will be a draft before Survivor Series this year. And that will be the norm going forwards. Wiggly says, does it not feel a bit strange AW doing this for Owen Hart? They're like a massive shot at WWE giving Martha's understandable disdain for them. Not everything has to be a shot at WWE. Sometimes they just want to do what they do. There is nothing wrong with celebrating someone. It's not necessarily a shot. Megan says, booking a versus card might give that a go myself. Tell you what we'll do, Megan. Tell you what we'll do. Tell you what we'll do. At some point, me and you will sit down. Maybe Ed as well. And we'll book competing cards. That can be a fun YouTube video. We can then, as advertising, put on YouTube who's got the better card and go from there. Moxie, I understood what you meant. Weekly says even Goldberg turned heel. Hogan never turned heel in WWE, yeah. Justin says, was RVD ever heel? I know he wasn't a megastar, but was very over. Technically, RVD was a heel when he came into the WWE. He just was turned face by the crowd very quickly because he's Rob Van Dam and he's just amazing. Moxley says, imagine AJ versus Moxley and Punk versus Seth. I'd rather have AJ versus Punk and Moxley versus Seth, if I'm honest. Thomas says, is there any more ideas on who will join Edge's new stable? Not at the moment. They don't want it to be too big. I think Ripley is the next one. That makes sense to me. Ed's down. Good to know, Ed. Good to know. Certainly I'll be thinking about that because it could be fun. It could just be like a fun, slow burn Twitter DM chat. Take a couple of days, take a couple of ideas and just have fun with it. Thomas, you already are joining in because you're making so many really good suggestions. Wiggly says, all this talk about Hall of Fame, is the actual Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame not seen as a big deal? No, not at all. Not even slightly. The WWE Hall of Fame has completely buried it. Completely buried it. If you want to be involved in doing that booking, if you want to be involved in that booking video, let me get a link to the Discord for anyone who's not already there. Once Discord loads. Wiggly says, was Ultimate name redacted ever heel in WWE? I don't know what I mean by Ultimate name redacted. There's only one name redacted here. Right. Okay, I'm just going to grab the link. When it appears. Where's my damn invite link? I don't understand. There should be a thing that says invite link in the top left as a Collie Unity. And I don't see it. And now I'm confused. Okay, I'll have to come back to that because for some reason the invite link's not there. Oh, invite people. There we go. So there's the link to Discord on the Twitch. I do just have to pop open the YouTube side again. We've just passed the hour-long mark. Jimmy Uso is getting tossed around by Randy Orton. But Matt Riddle is distracted. Orton's got him focused. Can they do it? Can they do it? Matt Riddle going for the RKO. Blocked. Oh, lovely. Lovely neck breaker from Jey Uso. I thought that might have been it, to be honest. I really did. Wiggly, we're just talking about a booking video. Sean says, Rey Mysterio's never turned heel, but I don't know if he is a big name. Oh, he's a massive name. Absolutely massive. No question at all. One of the biggest names in wrestling. And there is the link to the Discord in the YouTube side. Wonderful. Oh, okay, Wiggly. Not that I can recall. Depends how you look at him in WCW, to be fair. Rob says, Sting, Steamboat, overall Wendy Richter, Hillbilly Jim, also WWE, fair. And Justin confirms Warrior was never a heel. There is a proper war of attrition going on in this match. Very hard to predict who's going to come out of this the winner. Roman seems very excited. Shoulders were not down in that roll-up. Matt Riddle was holding one of Jey Uso's shoulders up the entire time. That was not a win. And Roman is furious. Rob says technically Hogan came back as a heel, but even attempted homicide by semi-truck against the People's Champ couldn't sustain that attempt. That is true, and that's a fair point, Rob. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I do remember that, Moxie. It's been a while. Sean says Tito Santana and Kelly last never turned heel. Kelly. Wiggly says I met Ray in 2019. Great guy. Signed my belt and mask. Chatted for ages about all sorts. Tito, when we talked about Eddie, told him my memories of his Halloween Havoc match with him. Honestly, a decent guy. Ray is just a really good guy. He's just a genuinely good guy, which is rare in wrestling. But he's just genuinely a wonderful person. Always worth your time. I've met him briefly and interviewed him once. We are pulling some interesting names out of the hat for this one. Bailey says Kerry Von Erich was never a heel, but his time as IC champion in WWF wasn't very long. I can't say he was a top level star either. Thank you kindly, Thomas. We'll talk about it more on the Discord. Sean says the Xia Li promo wasn't in the lineup by Fightful. Fightful haven't gotten everything recently. They've certainly got most of it, but there's been a few things not quite accurate. We have a recap of the Rhea Ripley heel turn from WWE Raw. There is a lot more integration between Raw and SmackDown nowadays, I'll say that. We're getting a recap of the heel turn, and I'm guessing something is now going to happen between Sasha, Naomi, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler, because there is no one else. There is literally no one else for them to face. Interesting new attire for Naomi and Sasha Banks. They're looking more and more like a tag team every week. A lot of people crying already. A lot of people crying. Justin says best wrestler to never turn face. I don't know. It would have to be John Cena by default, basically. Oh, never turned face. Oh, it's Corbin. Yeah, Corbin. Sorry, I thought you meant never turn heel. I'm going to go with Corbin. Incredible wrestler. I don't think he's had a chance to really show how good he actually is, because he has to be the heel. He has to make you hate him. Nothing wrong with that. This week's Raw has been heavily built around the Raw Women's Championship match between Bianca Belair and Sonya Deville. Oh, Becky's back. Becky Lynch is back on Raw this week. Sean says Adam Cole never turned face, I don't believe. No, I agree with that. That's accurate. Adam Cole was always a heel. Justin says, was Wade Barrett ever a face? Briefly, it didn't work out. Okay, it is the first commercial break. Oh, Ed, you're absolutely correct. Dr. Fugonomics, he was a heel. Absolutely right. It is the first commercial break after the hour, so I'm going to take a quick break myself. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be away for just a couple of minutes, and then I'll see you shortly. See you in a moment. Hello again, everyone. We are back to Sasha Banks and Naomi in the ring, celebrating the fact that they win matches. They do need new opponents, and they don't really have any right now. Honestly, it's starting to make me feel like we're about to see a Sasha heel turn and just screw the whole thing. Wiggly, you're absolutely correct. Wrestlers are usually absolutely fine with fans, except when you're just annoying the crap out of them. I think that's fair. Megan says, why am I now focusing on trying to put this card together and not watching the show? Because that's what you do, Megan. That's what you do. I haven't even really thought about it. But it could be fun. Oh, look. It's Natalya. Rob says, Randy Orton 20th anniversary celebration on Raw. Sounds like bloodline disruption. It does, doesn't it? It absolutely does. Natalya and Shayna Baszler are interrupting the tag team champions. Bailey says if Cena is off the list, the next never heel goes back to who? Tito Santana? Probably. Megan, you can't have 12 matches. That's far too many. Far too many. Moxie says we still have Drew and Roman and Ricochet, so that's pretty good. Ricochet versus Shanky. The Lumberjack match, which definitely looks like it's going to be our main event. That's kind of it though, isn't it? That's not the put down you think it is, Naomi. Shayna versus Naomi. We have a Lacey Evans promo still to come, I'm sure. Sean says Sasha's laugh isn't a babyface thing. It's not. You're absolutely correct. It says Ray is the name if we are talking main event. World champion level main eventers. Yep, he came in as a face, never turned heel. Rey Mysterio is the name. He is the guy. He is hashtag the guy. I'm definitely seeing a match here. I don't think it'll be a tag match. I think it'll be a singles match. Nope, music started playing. That means there's no match happening. Megan says, I know, but I'm trying to make sure at least the champions are on the card, and there's a couple of matches I really want to see personally. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Both sides have very, very deep rosters and very, very talented wrestlers. Madcap Moss, of course, Madcap Moss. Baron Corbin's back. Madcap Moss versus Angel. You may have to get some tag team matches going, Megan. Baron Corbin wants Madcap Moss back. Mocking a man for being bald just seems cruel. I don't see a face in Madcap Moss. I just don't. Like, I'm not going to get behind this guy. It's just not going to happen. Again, Madcap Moss getting a good pop. I can't ignore the results. One of his things in the stat is all-time great joke teller. That's what the hell? What the hell? Sean says, I know Vince would offer him a lot to stay, but would AEW have interest in Corbin? Probably, yeah. Yeah. He is actually a big name, but more than that, he's a reliable, safe worker. AEW need them as much as anyone else does. Everyone would be interested in Baron Corbin if he became available. He's too reliable. You cannot miss an opportunity to sign someone like Baron Corbin. He knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to pop a crowd as well, and has done several times in the past. He just knows how to make things work. Baron Corbin's one of those. There is no downside. No downside at all. I don't think he would ever leave Vince McMahon, though. Baron Corbin, for me, is the new Undertaker. In that he's the one that Vince has the most faith in. And that no matter what, Corbin's the guy who leads the locker room. I know Roman obviously is a big deal in this, but Corbin's the guy who takes charge. Corbin's the guy that everybody likes. And I mean everyone. Everybody likes Baron Corbin. Sean says, would AEW have interest in The Miz, even though The Miz wouldn't leave it WWE? Yeah. Because with The Miz, you don't just get the wrestler, you also get all of the reality TV stuff. You get the ambassadorial work. You get The Miz. Moxie says, Shayna and Natalia's team name is probably going to be called Nature of Destruction. There is no team name. They are Shayna Baszler and Natalya. There's no team name planned. Rob says, 5 of the 8 Andrea the Memorial winners no longer with the company. Yep. It was very brave of them to show that list of winners, most of which are gone now. So, very brave of them. I was surprised. Megan says, Corbin's a lifer in WWE. Unless something massively goes wrong, I don't see him leaving. Same for The Miz and probably Natalya as well. I agree with that. This is another thing of what I meant when I said Baron Corbin's the new Undertaker. He's a franchise player. He's not going anywhere. You're more likely to lose Roman Reigns than Baron Corbin. At least that's what I believe. Let's have a look at the poll. We did a poll earlier as regards Drew Gulak. So far it's had 89 votes. 68.5% of people would prefer to be on TV getting beaten up weekly, and 31.5% of people would prefer to be off TV sitting and catering instead. I'm going to retweet that, get some more votes in. If anyone else can retweet it, I'd be very grateful. And just see how people feel about it. Just see how people feel, you know? Sean suggests many are WWE lifers: Randy, Alexa, Sasha, John Cena, Seth, Becky, Charlotte, etc. A couple of those names definitely not lifers. A couple of those names definitely going to be moving on to something else, but may not ever go to a different wrestling company. But there's a couple of names in there who are going to follow The Rock. We spoke about this earlier. Amo Welcome says, is Roman on Smackdown tonight? We've seen Roman, yes. I expect to see more of Roman shortly. We have a vignette for Raquel Rodriguez. I can't help but to point out that she has really white teeth. Like, it was a bit scary when she first cracked that smile. Given that Lacey Evans and Raquel Rodriguez are both coming in as faces, this definitely has a lot to do with Xia Li turning heel. Madcap Moss has apparently spent the entire commercial break snogging a trophy. Ooh, hearts and spades. That's not bad, Robs. That's not bad. I like that. Do we have another Kiss Cam segment? And is it a dude? Because it's time. It's time. I don't think they'd have any issue with it. Just snog a dude. Let's do it. Let's do it. Sean says, will Raquel face a jobber or someone on the roster? Probably a jobber to start with. We'll probably follow the Gunter role, as it were. Amel says, do you think Bray Wyatt will return to WWE? I am already planning a video on that exact topic. So in the days to come... Oh, it's not a dude. In the days to come, I will be uploading a video with more information on what's next for Bray Wyatt. Maybe of interest to you. If you haven't already subscribed, now's the time to do so, because there is going to be a lot more information on Bray Wyatt appearing shortly on this here channel. I'm going to tweet once again my hope that at some point the kiss cam has a dude in it. Just going to tweet one more time about how the Los Lotharios kiss cam would be wonderful if it was equal opportunities. Basically, kiss more dudes. I'm happy with that. Bit random. Megan says it would be nice to see someone male or non-binary in the kiss cam. Equal opportunities for romance. Indeed. Los Lotharios. Is that whole thing that they're, you know, into love? Or are they just into like one thing? And let's be equal. Let's be equal opportunities. Let's share the love. Stop slapping your arse. I didn't get over for Bobby Lashley, so I'm going to get over for you. Pull what trigger, Bailey? They did pull the trigger on Rhea and Liv. They broke them up as a tag team. That was pulling the trigger. I can't imagine the match is going to take too long. Fairly standard booking. They're trying to build up Madcap Moss for something. I'd imagine maybe a run against someone like Gunter. If Gunter does win the Intercontinental Championship, Madcap Moss could be the one to take it from him. Be a slow build, but we could get there. We're less than 40 minutes to go. There's a lumberjack match. There is one more match. I'm forgetting who it is. I'm forgetting who the other match is. I swear there was another match. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way. Indeed, the match is not long. Madcap just taking the win. No messing around. No fuss. Rob says, anything new on Mox? There is nothing new to report on Moxley. His contract is slowly wearing down. He seemed happy in AEW, but if he doesn't sign a new contract, he's not going to sign a new contract. Megan says, lesbians are okay though, as long as Kevin Dunn and Vince find them hot, because there is still the mindset that lesbians on TV are just for the titillation of mostly old and pervy men. Yeah, there is. WWE and lesbianism is not a great story so far. Let's have the equal opportunities and just put in some gay. Baron Corbin is attacking Madcap Moss. This is obviously where the feud was always going to go. A proper match between Corbin and Madcap Moss was always in the plan. I expected last week Baron Corbin to just beat the hell out of Madcap Moss, but it looks like they pushed it back a week. Fair enough. End of days on Madcap Moss, which as we know is no longer a good finisher. Boo. Sean says, other than Roman, who of the current champions will still be championed by Survivor Series? I don't think Roman will be championed by Survivor Series. I don't think anyone will be. Maybe Ronda? Oh, she's not a current champion. Baron Corbin is walking away with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy, which is a mouthful and a half. So logically, the fight, the match, the feud is going to be about Madcap getting his trophy back. Yay. Simon says, really enjoyed Sasha's the Ricochet match. That's what I was forgetting. Really enjoyed Sasha's segment. She looked absolutely fantastic. So stunning, tonight as ever. Just wish the WWE would give Boss Glow, Sasha Naomi more promo time now. They will. They've got no one to actually wrestle, so logically they have to. Sami Zayn is approaching Roman Reigns. I'm guessing he wants some insurance against Drew McIntyre. This could be the beginning of a Roman Reigns Drew McIntyre feud. Megan believes Ricochet will still be a champion at Survivor Series because they'll probably forget about him soon, and Theory because Vince likes him. I think Theory probably around about SummerSlam will be losing that championship. As regards Ricochet, I'm not sure, but I don't think he's going to have that much longer. He is a transitional champion, we just don't know who the transition is to as of yet. Gunter does make the most sense. As we head into our final half hour, please do remember that if you're watching on YouTube, if you can click the like button, that little thumbs up can make a massive difference to the growth of the channel. Not just during the show tonight, but also going forwards. Quite often, these watch parties end up getting 500-600 extra views after the show is already finished. Every like that you give, every little chat, every little thing you say, increases the chance that this video will be advertised far and wide and find new viewership and potentially new subscribers. So please remember to hit that like if you haven't already. Moxie says I would have next year's Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar destroys 9 men, then Corbin comes out and eliminates Lesnar, then the final for is Corbin, Big E, KO and AJ. Corbin eliminates AJ and Big E eliminates KO. After that, Big E and Corbin go to hell and back, they destroy each other. Big hits a big ending, eliminates Corbin, just made a new star. Then Elimination Chamber, we have Corbin, Drew, AJ, Brock, Edge and Finn. Then last two is Brock and Corbin. Brock pins Corbin to win the WWE Championship. Fans cheer Corbin. Fans will not cheer Corbin if that happens. Brock is a face. Brock is a face right now, guys. Brock is a face. Also, you don't create a new star in Big E from the Royal Rumble. He's literally a former WWE Champion. Everyone's just forgotten that that ever happened. Rob says toss Ricochet versus Sammy Guevara in there. I mean, that would be an interesting match. There's a lot of fun options. I think unfortunately if we're doing a combined card, that one is just a little bit too far for me. Simon says, Sami Zayn got a lot of guts to walk into the Go-Fathers of the Bloodline in Roman's locker room. Them Go-Fathers? Moxie says, and at Mania we get Corbin versus Brock in the main event, 28-minute banger, they go to hell, then Corbin hit 100 days and pins Brock to win the WWE titles. None of that's going to happen. None of that whatsoever. No chance. When you have Roman Reigns, you don't put him anywhere other than the WrestleMania main event. I'm confident next year's WrestleMania main event will be Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. That's the only thing for me that could compete with whatever the hell Roman is doing at that time. If it's Roman versus Apollo Crews, the WrestleMania main event will be Roman Reigns versus Apollo Crews. Ooh. Sean suggests Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti versus Montez and Bianca. Ooh. That's a good shout, Sean. See, these are some exciting options. We have a Make-A-Wish. I should say a Make-A-Wish commercial. We don't have a Make-A-Wish. Liv Morgan involved in the Make-A-Wish commercial. That's a good sign. Typically, everyone used in commercials like this are either already established stars or the WWE are expecting them to become established stars in the days and weeks that follow. Big E, after all, was in a no-smoking campaign before he won Money in the Bank and before he won the championship. Topical considering what we were talking about. Logically, we're about to have Ricochet versus Shanky and it's about to be a 5-minute match. Roman Reigns is backstage with the Usos. So the commercial break has happened and Sami Zayn is what? Just hovered outside? The confusion in Roman's face. A guest? What the hell? Megan has Sammy Guevara versus Austin Theory. Interesting. Wouldn't you go Darby Allin? Just for the face heel thing. Sammy opens with an acknowledgement, which is fair. Moxie says this is the beginning to Roman versus Drew. I think I can see Roman attacking Drew. Possible? I don't know. I think it's too early for me. Sami Zayn just wants an opportunity to run away. And he's offending Roman. So that's not going to work out for him. Bailey says, do you see Montez Ford getting to main event championship level in the next few years? No. I see him getting to main event level in 5 or 6 years. Next few, not so much. There was definitely a suggestion earlier on today. Definitely a suggestion that we are heading into RK Bro and Drew McIntyre versus the Bloodline. Sammy does have that right. Of course, Darby's in your 5v5. That makes sense. Sean says, or Sammy and Tay versus Jimmy and Naomi, or Sammy and Tay versus Seth and Becky. I wouldn't go Seth and Becky. A bit too rich for their blood. Okay, make your proposal, Sammy. Paul Heyman's background acting is very fun. Just baffled by its entire concept. Sammy, you've got nothing to offer them. Sean says, will Sammy ever be top guy material? He already is. Sami Zayn is already top guy material. It says, what about Lucha Bros versus Ricochet and Santos? To show people what they missed on Lucha Underground when the Lucha Bros against Puma and King Cuerno. Good times, good times. Lucha Underground was just great fun. Sammy sent a message. He didn't get a response. But I think he's going to send the Usos to back him up. Sean says, top guy material, I mean, is a world champion. He's there. He just doesn't have the belt yet. Roman has instructed the Usos to essentially go to war. Megan, you forgot the Lucha Bros? What you doing, mate? What you doing? How about this? How about this? How about this? Young Bucks versus Usos versus Lucha Bros versus New Day. 4 corners. Go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. How about that? We have 25 minutes left. We have 2 matches and we have Lacey Evans promo plus commercial breaks. Not sure we have time for this. Of course, the whole point of this is to make you get behind Lacey, and it's going to work. Interesting, Megan, FTR and Wardlow. Sean says, I believe I saw something by Dave Meltzer that said Lacey Evans' first feud will be against Shotzi. She doesn't have many options. Maybe he'll change his tune now that Xia Li's gone heel. But ultimately that was the only possibility, wasn't it? There was no one else for the face. And a lot of pictures of young Lacey. She looks exactly the same as she does now. These are having diminishing returns for me. It's looking like Lacey Evans will return to the actual WWE ring after WrestleMania Backlash. Disagree, Bailey, as regards brawlers. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Kevin Owens is a brawler. There's room for brawlers. I'd say Becky Lynch to an extent is a brawler as well, to be fair. Sean says, imagine if these segments for Lacey end like the ones of Alexa. One appearance, then off TV. She wasn't even supposed to have that one appearance. The Alexa vignettes were supposed to extend until WrestleMania, and then she was supposed to return after WrestleMania. We are now after WrestleMania. There's still time for that change. Simon says, Sasha is really good friends with Xia Li, trains with her a lot. Would personally like to see Boss Glow versus Xia Li. And Shotzi, given Sasha versus Shotzi's very recent history, should make great fun matches. Certainly possibility. So I think it's very clear, that we're not going to get Ricochet versus Shanky tonight. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle are on their way down as Lumberjacks. Also there, Shinsuke Nakamura, The New Day. There's a lot of people who have history with the Bloodline there. And of course, Fight Night as well. This should be a fun main event. Megan says, I figured it out for Lucha Bros. Jurassic Express versus Lucha Bros versus Usos versus the Grizzled Young Vets. Did contemplate adding in the Creed Brothers and Santana and Ortiz too. Just have utter chaos. We're eventually going to have a battle royal here, aren't we? Is it possible to have a wild card ladder match? Have a wild card ladder match. Just go crazy. Wiggly says, will Lacey have a new theme? I kind of hope not, because I actually quite like her theme, but the lyrics are very heel. Like, the lyrics are just a very heel. Brandon says, Nakamura is Lumberjack. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. There is every possibility that Roman could start a feud with Drew or Nakamura tonight. If Nakamura tries to block off the Usos from getting involved against McIntyre, we've got an opportunity. Rob says, Lacey Evans certainly not taking the Xia Li promo class of I'm a babyface now. Yeah, but to be fair, with Lacey Evans there's a lot more heel to unpack. They just need to change everything and make everyone forget about Ric Flair. Moxley, we've got... When we come back, we'll have maybe 17 minutes left. I don't think we have time for another match. Looks like Shanky versus Ricochet might be next week. Or that recording was supposed to actually be next week. One or the other. I'm trying to think of Lacey Evans' theme. All I just remember is act like a lady. Don't be jealous because they like what they see. So traditional. It's annoying. It's annoying. Don't work for me. Moxie wants to see Roman versus Nakamura versus Drew. I've seen a lot of Roman versus Drew. It doesn't really excite me anymore. I want Roman versus Nakamura one-on-one. Still haven't seen it. Still waiting. Megan says I made it an 8-team tag team battle royal. Here's the issue you're going to get, Megan. The amount of people on your card. You're going to make it such an in-depth card with so many matches that it's going to end up being a WrestleMania. You don't get a 2-night event. It's a 3-hour pay-per-view. You end up with like 15 4-minute matches. It's hard work booking, isn't it? Ed, I hope at the same time you're considering your potential matches. I'm not really putting much focus in it right now. I'll do that tomorrow. Moxie suggests Riddle versus Nakamura. That could be fun. Right. Next week we have Ricochet versus Shanky. That's confirmed. Of course, by next week that will be recorded tonight. Sean said, I personally think they gave Kaylee Ray a dumb name. Should have kept Kaylee Ray. I agree. Completely agree. Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey are having a beat the clock I quit challenge. Are they both facing off against Drew Gulak? Ed's got a few matches ready to go. Cool. No, we've got a lot of good stuff. Megan says, time has no meaning. To quote my sisterhood, nothing is true, everything is permitted. Hey, Mansoor! Mansoor! I remember that guy. This could be quite fun. Unfortunately, what I will say, Sami Zayn's just going to be trying to escape the entire time. The entire time. So this is going to be a slow start. McIntyre is heading out first. No sign of the Usos or Roman as of yet. Drew's bringing his sword, which seems a dumb move when there's lumberjacks because someone's clearly going to steal your sword. Like, didn't you just lose your sword? It's been a while since McIntyre has main evented a show though, so this is quite nice to see. The New Day are really showing out for him. One thing I always found very interesting in lumberjack matches is that all the heels go to one side and all the faces go to the other. Because they need to avoid standing too close to each other. Rob says, what's the odds on Butch attacking New Jay during this? It would be out of character if he did not. I'm pretty confident this show is going to end with absolute carnage. I'm excited for it, to be clear. I want the carnage. Smackdown's been average tonight, but I'm excited for this. I think this has a chance to take it above and beyond, as it were. Right, so the faces are near the commentary table and near the entrance. The heels are on the other side. This is really exposing how small the SmackDown roster is. This lumberjack match is really exposing how small the SmackDown roster is now. I mean, you literally just have Jinder and Shanky on one side. Sammy's at least got to get in the ring, but he's going to take his time about it. Megan says, there's 72 people on my card right now, not counting managers. So you're going to lose basically the entire show on entrances. You're going to have to work out who gets the jobber entrances. Sean says, think this will end Drew versus Sammy? No. I think Sammy will find a way to escape. I mean, that's the whole point here. Brandon says it's going to be glorious seeing Drew finally win the title in front of fans, especially if it's in the UK. I do think that moment will be in the plan. Here come the Usos. Ed, I didn't see your personal man face. I do believe that you have a man face. I've seen it. But I don't see it there. Megan says, if Drew wins in Cardiff, you'll be able to hear it no matter where you are. The entire world will go crazy. May have gone a tiny bit overboard here, I'll admit, but that's how my brain works. Sami Zayn, of course, has immediately left the ring. This is going to be a really slow match. We're not really going to have any wrestling until after the next commercial break. Megan will have to work out the logistics in this video. I think this may end up being an audio recording, and then I'll put some clips and some pictures over it. Just at some point book it for the three of us to sit down and talk plans. I'll have to work out the rules. Simon says, Sasha and Naomi just got their WrestleMania 38 plaque portrait title championship win. Can't wait to get one for Sasha. Finally celebrating a Mania and title victory for her. We'll see how well that sells. Megan says, I love that even though they're against each other, New Day still vibe to the Usos theme no matter what. The respect never ends. Naturally, Sheamus and Ridge Holland have started the attack on Drew McIntyre as soon as an opportunity arose. It's only right. And we have our next commercial break. Sean says the United States title reigns sometime in Drew's future. Well, he's on the wrong brand right now. I don't personally see that. I just think it's not a championship he's going to want to be particularly involved in. They do tend to think pretty nationalistically. That's the right word. When it comes to the US Championship. Brandon says the heels are desperately outnumbered outside the ring. They needed the Usos, didn't they? They needed them Usos. Those dang dirty Usos. I haven't seen Ricochet. That's an interesting one. Also, given what Charlotte and Ronda have been doing recently, why aren't they out there? Just get out there and beat everybody up. It's your job. You're a wrestler. Beat everyone up. Megan says, tell me the boss has gutted the roster without telling me the boss has gutted the roster. Indeed. There's no attempt going on to hide it. It's all a bit falling apart. There's a reason you've got RK Bro there. They need them. They need people from Raw at the minute. That's why Roman's got both championships. I'm surprised we're not seeing Cody Rhodes there, to be completely honest. They've got him on every show they can. Ten minutes left of Smackdown. We'll get into the actual match at this point. But there's also a whole story to take place. A whole story. The Usos are there to push the storyline that's planned. Just waiting to see how that actually plays out. Brandon says Tony Storm still on an advertisement for WWE Live. To be fair, Adam Cole was still on the NXT commercial for so long after he left. WWE taking their time with it. Ten minutes left. We've had the basic lumberjack setup. They always do at least a brief section where people get beat up on the outside by the lumberjacks because that's how you establish a lumberjack match. Same way when a Royal Rumble comes around, you always see Battle Royals just so everyone gets reminded of the rules. Simon says, do you see Adam Cole possibly winning an AEW TNT title sometime in the future, given he's now out of the World Title Championship picture? Yeah. I think it'd be absolutely perfect for that, much as he was perfect for the North American Championship in NXT. He's a very good mid-card champion. He's extremely good in that role. Brennan says, who do you see standing tall at the end of this? Sami. Very much Sami. I hope Nakamura, but I think it'll be Sami. It's a good pivot point. Sami going to Roman actually does still make sense. The fact that Sheamus is just on a mission to beat up McIntyre, that works for me as well. They do have history. Considerable history. But she's not there at the moment. Michael Cole just said he ran off when he lost to Xavier Woods, which is just disappointing to hear. It's disappointing to hear. McIntyre's got his eye on the heels. Banner says Sheamus is using any chance he can to beat up Drew. Accurate. Fight night, innit? The actual wrestling part of the match is starting, with Sami Zayn getting thrown around a bit. Sean says Cameron defends against Carmelo and Solo in 2 weeks of spring breaking, which is a terrible name. Braun defends against Joe Gacy. Who do you think win these matches? I think the champions retain. Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't think Joe Gacy's quite ready. But at the same time, Braun Breaker's been ready for a while. Sami ran away and landed right in front of RK Bro, and the Usos immediately attacking RK Bro, protecting their the Sami Zayn investment. But this will not. That's not going to result in Roman versus Drew. Faces and heels have started to fight. Usos have caused chaos. Sami Zayn's tried to escape, but Drew's managed to catch him. Nearly got away. Nearly. Simon says, is Adam Cole versus Ishii tonight on AEW Rampage? Should be a good one. Should be fun, as long as Jinder Mahal attacking McIntyre. Just as long as Tomohiro Ishii has his theme, because his New Japan theme is fucking badass. Like, I hurt myself rocking out to that theme on a surprisingly regular basis. McIntyre diving onto the lumberjacks. Perfect catch. Literally a perfect catch. There is time for Roman here. Sean says, has there ever been a lumberjack match where the lumberjacks haven't brawled? No, I don't think so. Oh, Megan's give a good response. Zombies. Zombies. And Brandon said, I love how Mansoor is just randomly there. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sami Zayn's away. Drew can't catch him. Adam Pearce is unhappy. Next week. In a steel cage. In a steel cage. In a steel cage. Should have done that the first time. To be clear, I still think he's going to escape. Jinder Mahal attacking Drew McIntyre again. Yes, Bailey, they are taping next week's show tonight. I'd imagine the steel cage is actually hovering above the ring as we speak. Drew's just getting beaten down. He's got no help. Where are the Viking Raiders when you need them? Viking Raiders are his friends. RK Bro are his friends. Now would be perfect for Ricochet, Brandon. Absolutely. Nope, sorry. I've just remembered the whole point is Drew McIntyre can beat up anyone he wants. 2-on-1 means nothing. It's Drew McIntyre. He'll just win. Can't believe I forgot that. He'll just win. He's overpowered Shanky. Got the 3-2-1 on Jinder. Jinder, who to be fair probably asked for the Claymore. I keep forgetting. It's the WWE. They book their top guys to just beat up everyone regardless of anything else. Keep forgetting. We have definitely not seen a beginning to Drew McIntyre versus Roman. It was teased, but we haven't seen that. Brandon says, kind of expected more for the end there. Me too, me too. Sean says, looks like there's something on the ceiling that looks covered up or dark. I just saw it. Could be a steel cage. Definitely could be a steel cage. Sami Zayn can't seem to decide whether he should leave or not. He's still just sort of hovering around. They're going through the next week card again. Ricochet versus Shanky, which I'd imagine is going to open next week. And the Beat the Clock I Quit challenge. Feel sorry for Drew Gulak. The Beat the Clock's going to be against him. We all know it. And that would be annoying, but also really quite fun. And we end the show with Drew McIntyre walking away. Clever from Drew there, clever from Pat McAfee. He got the opportunity to do a little bit of a promo to close the show out. And that's SmackDown. The last match did kind of rescue it. There was at least good stuff going on, even if it was outside of the ring. It was interesting, even though the actual wrestling wasn't great. But overall, not a strong SmackDown. We're back into the whole holding pattern of just, okay, well, eventually we'll do something interesting. And they're just not doing anything particularly interesting. We're just sort of, I don't know, just waiting for something interesting to happen, and nothing interesting is happening at the moment. It's a real shame, I feel. A real shame. Accurate, Megan. Wheel spin again. Just wheel spin. And it seems constant at this point. It's just constantly spinning those wheels round and round. Anyway, I'm going to call it there. I'm going to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined me. When it comes to Wrestlemania Backlash, we are looking at doing something of a post-show or some sort of review. So let me know if you guys are interested in something post-Wrestlemania Backlash at any point soon. That's certainly something on our agenda at the moment. So we're thinking about that. In the meantime, though, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's joined me. And, yeah, as usual, I've been Tom Collihew. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.